on down.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the August board meeting. It is 7 o'clock, so we're going to get started. Our first item is just, are we all here? We are all here. Everybody's present and in person. Yay, that's an accomplishment in August. So that's awesome. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So for all who can stand, please join us with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance.
Flag. States of America. To the republic which stands one nation. Justice for all.
Okay. Our next item is the communication presentation, and our superintendent, John Luthringer, will do that. Thank you, John.
Yes, thank you so much. I'd like to invite Marcy Reisinger up as well to join us for the presentation. Marcy is our communications specialist, and she's going to help me tonight with our presentation. So grab the clicker. So the board may remember, actually just about this time last year, we transitioned from using communication service from our WishWe BOCES, which is the Warren, Washington, Saratoga, Essex, Hamilton BOCES, our local BOCES, to for communication services to Capital Region BOCES. That happened in July of 2022, and there was a variety of reasons for that. The main reason was Capital Region has a specific division dedicated to offering communication services to school districts. They work with a number of school districts up and down the Capital Region, many local schools even in our WishWe region as well. And they have a plethora of resources that they can offer school districts. And WishWe, while they have a small communication services, they really don't have the resources that a Cap region can offer. So it was a shift. We are able to have a public information specialist 3 days a week. That was no different than the services that we had with WishWe. But as I mentioned, what comes with that is really a dedicated professionals that support the district beyond what Marcy does. And Marcy does a tremendous amount of work for our school. But behind her, there is graphic design, social media, website development specialists, video production, crisis communication, and printing services. So again, there's a whole division dedicated to supporting districts. As part of our service, we are able to also get what's called enhanced specialty hours. As part of our package, we start with 150 for the school year, and that's really for specialty projects. One example that we used enhanced hours for last year was for our transportation capital project video. That's where they actually bring a videographer up, somebody who's a specialist in this area, and they helped craft what turned out. We got a lot of great feedback from that video. We had Brian and Andy in it. It was a wonderful video. So we have the enhanced specialty hours as well. That is something that we can access. And then really what Marcy and I do is we work collaboratively to develop annual communication goals and future objectives each and every year. So our goals, when we're going to talk a little bit about kind of last year and then moving into this year. So our goals last year is especially as a new superintendent starting, we really wanted our families and community members to be aware of the wide range of opportunities available for our students. Again, we are a small school district, but with big opportunities. We wanted to get the word out on all of those great accomplishments for our staff and students. We also wanted our district and families to be well informed about the capital project. So we did a lot of press and work around that to inform our community of the capital project. We did a special newsletter. We did the videos I mentioned and a variety of other things leading up to the capital project vote. In addition to that, we want to build informed consent for the school budget as well. So that is a big part of the communication process as we head into budget season each and every year. And these goals here, while they were for last year, are goals that are going to continue on into this year as well. We have new goals, but these ones are just going to continue on each and every year. Some of the highlights and examples here that you've seen and we've talked a little bit about, but one of our goals was to really relaunch our social media presence. Marcy's going to talk a little bit about that in a minute, but Instagram was new for us. We still use Twitter and we still use Facebook to reach the audiences in our community and greater community. As I mentioned, the Transportation Capital Project video, we did a mini branding guide and a Google Slides template, which you see here as well. We created and published 4 district newsletters and a budget postcard. And the biggest project this year was the website redesign, which we're going to talk about as well. In addition to that, Marcy's the liaison with the local media, and she writes news stories and pushes out press releases as well. Marcy.
All right. So this was our largest project we had this year, was the new website. And what Cap Region did was really looked at the website from more of an external view. If you think back to like the late 90s, early 2000s to mid 2000s, your website was really just this all encompassing, just way communication for parents, for the outside community. It was for everyone. Now that we have different services like Lake George has Parent Square, we kind of want our website to be tiered down a little to just that external view. So someone looking at our district would see what we have to offer, our programs, things like that, but not necessarily what specific things are happening in a classroom. That also brings up privacy issues as well. So to start off, we did this initial audit, and then to see what kind of things we could use, what we couldn't, to bring over. And then we did a survey for staff, the community. What are people using our website for? From that, we brought out a blueprint and we showed it to the administrative team, and out came what our new website would look like. We also looked at best practices for the American Disabilities Act. We had a lot of PDFs on there that weren't readable for people with visual disabilities. So now we have a beautiful new website. It's clean, it's attractive, it has all the things we need on it, but not necessarily things that you would have seen before, like teacher pages, things like that. That's moved on to Parent Square. So this is our website. It looks beautiful. As you can see, we have different tabs on top. The About Us just has a little about us, our school district itself, what we have to offer. Under academics are just our curriculum plans, different things like that. Athletics, Board of Education, and departments and services, which will bring you to all those different departments. We also have 2 tabs, one for the elementary school, one for the junior, senior high school, that goes to those specific schools. And also, on the right side, we have district events. So everything that's happening within the district will show up right there.
That calendar is linked to an internal calendar, so it's constantly updated. So we don't have to update in multiple places. That was one of our limitations of our old website, which used a outdated program that actually is going away. Another reason to update our website. So this is exciting because it's going to be constantly current. This is the first part. When you first log in, you'll see the beautiful pictures of our students. They'll be updated. That slider rotates. Just a couple other things to comment on here. So there are different other sections as well. So this search bar works really, really well. So if you're looking for a keyword or item, you can just type it in and it will take you to different sections of the website with that keyword. As we look at kind of scrolling down, so as you're on your mouse scrolling down a little bit, some of the other things to highlight here, this is where our district news will be as well. So any news stories, so you can see some of the most recent ones about our HVAC systems in the elementary school, among some of the other programming. And then really the featured links here, this is something that's going to be really critical for us, especially as things come up throughout the school year that we want to draw people's attention to, in particular budget season. So we'll have a featured link there. It's a quick link, goes right to different sections of the website. This can be changed changed readily depending on what time of year it is. And that also exists on the individual building level pages as well. Marcy, did you want to add anything here?
I don't think so.
Okay. So we're really excited about it. Again, we did seek out, we put information out, kind of a big press release about it, and we're hoping to get some feedback on it, and it can all go to Marcy at her email. And it's something that we're going to continue to fine tune and build as we go along here.
Social media growth. All right. So social media is one of our very big parts of communication. It's just how people outside the district, inside the district, the whole community, how everyone sees us. So we have 3 main parts of social media. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, And new for this year, like John had said, we brought Instagram into the play, and that's really for the younger demographic. We have a lot of students on Instagram, people who we want to see a little more involved with communications. So we had 264 followers and 111 posts, which is actually a great growth for the very, very start of things. We have Facebook. So our Facebook was huge this year. So our audience growth, the amount of people who follow the district increased 10.3%. So, and then the next is our impressions growth. And that's how many times something shows up on someone's page. So I don't know how many of you have Facebook, but sometimes you see a post and it says 3 days ago or 2 days ago, this was posted. That means people are seeing our stuff more often and just as soon as we post it. So that actually went up 43.3%. And our engagement, so how much people are interacting with our posts, they're commenting, they're sharing, they're liking things, that went up 54.3%, which means we're reaching a lot more people. And our top 2 posts this year were the junior prom and graduation.
Yeah, there was some great information about those two, so I'm not surprised that those were our most viewed. So just to close here, so future goals and projects, as I mentioned, we will continue to have those other goals, centered around informing our community about budget and all sorts of different things and stories of our students. But we want to continue to grow Parent Square as our main communication tool with parents. We just started that this year. That's a big tool for us to use. It has a lot of new features, so we're looking to really expand that. So we're communicating this summer with our back to school information about encouraging parents to download the app, because there are other features that they will be able to access in addition to just getting the normal email messages that we send out from the school. So that's a goal of ours. We know that we're going to have a nickname logo process that's going to start in September with our students. So we're going to be looking as one of our goals, a more comprehensive branding process for the existing colors, existing LG, the new logo. So there's going to be a whole design process with that as well. And then we have some other ideas as well, connecting more with our community. We've started a great relationship with the Chamber of Commerce and Gina Minster down there. And we were really looking, and one of the things, feedback I got from her was, really getting that information out about our school in those areas in the village and town. It could be up at the town center, it could be down at the chamber, where people go and see, and then they could have a brochure of our school district. So that's something that we're going to work on this year and get out in our community. Again, the idea of sharing our story and all the great things going on in our school district, and really that's a reason to move here. So we're excited about that. And Marcy has some other ideas as well.
We're still, one of our big communications is to tell the story of Lake George, that it is a small district with big opportunities. And as well as we want another series out there that is Live Here, Work Here, living in the community, working at the district, showing off what the district has to offer. We also have another series that we're going to do, the unsung heroes of Lake George Central School District, some of those kind of behind the scenes players, just how they make our district run and how important they are. And we want to showcase them to the community and to everyone else. And we also want to do a huge thing with recognition of students and staff and just show their excellence here.
Great. Well, thank you. That's all we have. We wanted to give an update on communications and kind of our thoughts on the school year and some future goals. Does anybody at the board have any questions for us?
It would be a neat idea to do a recognition of some alumni, because we have some very successful alumni out there. And so I don't know how you would do that, but anyway, I just think that would be kind of cool to read about people like that.
It's a great idea. Thank you.
John, this setup for this purpose right here is way better than before. Thank you for that. But so it looks like we're just getting with Capital Regional BOCES as a support and guidance type of relationship, correct?
Yeah. So it's a service that, and just like we subscribe to many services through our BOCES. So with that service comes Marcy in district 3 days a week, and then kind of that, all the extra staffing for different things that we might need.
No, it's a great partnership. Great.
Marcy, thank you for all your hard work and jumping in and getting to know our district and telling the story. Really appreciate the role that you play in all of this.
Thank you.
And I have to, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. I was just going to comment on the new website. I mean, I know you'll be looking for feedback through the district, but it really is very clean and just easier to navigate. So thank you. It's a good design so far, and hopefully it'll, I don't know, welcome people to jump in a little bit more in terms of family, et cetera. So great job. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. I feel like this has helped me have a deeper understanding of what your role is and what the role is for the CAP Region Communication Program. So thank you. Our next item is the district-wide safety plan public hearing.
Sorry, I'm almost there.
That's okay.
We have two public hearings. The first one, both of them are really annual. The first one here, it pertains to the district-wide safety plan. This is a required document that we have to have. It has been on our website. It was sent out via Parent Square as well for comment. And at this time, we'd like to open the public hearing if anyone wants to have any comments on the district-wide safety plan. Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing. And as I mentioned before to the board, this is a required document, and the only addition other than some minor staffing changes that we have to do each and every summer was the addendum pertaining to remote instruction. We were required by the state to develop a remote instruction plan in the event of a significant closure. So that has also been approved and vetted through our Needham safety risk management, our health and safety experts.
Thank you.
Great.
And then the next one, we can roll right into the code of conduct.
Yeah, so in the same vein here, the code of conduct requires annual review. There was again some minor changes. There was a couple sentences adding to locations of some policies referencing harassment. So code of conduct has had some slight adjustments. Again, it was collaboratively developed a few years back, and I'll open the public hearing for any comments on that as well. Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing.
Thank you, John. Next item is our elementary school principal, Jim Conway.
All right, so hi, everybody. Good to see everyone. As we always are, the elementary school is a very busy place in the summer. And I do want to just begin by recognizing the work that Bridget Crossman has done this summer, along with Heather Usher, one of our physical education teachers. Literacy is obviously very important to us and near and dear to Bridget and the work that she does. And in a normal year where there's not a building project going on in the building, she would be every Wednesday the library is open and students are in there. But the building project doesn't stop her great ideas and thinking. And as you may know, that she ran a program this summer with Beaches and Books, along with Heather Usher, and we had close to 100 students that participated, maybe not every day, but in a morning session and afternoon session on Wednesdays, where kids went to the library and then they traveled to the beach with their books. And it was amazing and very creative, and maintained kids being involved in reading throughout the summer, and many of our students. So, I'm thankful for the work that Bridget and Heather both did with that program. And as I do every summer, I think it's important to publicly thank our Youth Commission program, the folks that run that. It is unique in so many ways that we have our PEP program, and a youth commission program that does so much for our students. And, on behalf of the elementary school, I want to thank and recognize that program, both programs, PEP and the Youth Commission. Jumpstart started this week. We have about 40 students in K through 6 involved in the program, and we host students from Bolton each year. We have 4 students from Bolton. We have a nice arrangement and agreement. When they have openings in their pre-K program, they have allowed us to send students to them, and we host the Jumpstart program, and we invite students to join us from Bolton each summer. Summer STEM Camp is going on the 21st, on August 21st, with about 60 students participating, which is an incredible number when you think about a summer camp program for our students. It's tremendous, and Jeff Beazon and 5 other teachers at the elementary school are involved in running that program. One shared teacher, I should say, Dante Saletti, who's very involved in STEM in both buildings. So great program and great opportunity for our students. Just some updates. Megan and I have been busy working alongside Ashley Gershon. A lot of curriculum work has been done, certainly by Megan and Ashley, leading up to the work that's gone on this summer. Gone on with our K through 2 teachers, some professional development opportunities that are going on. Our math, as you know, we have a new math series, Eureka Math Squared. We spent the year last year really researching programs and what was a good fit for Lake George and what made the most sense. And it was a very collaborative, shared decision-making process for our building. And now that we have that program, we're doing the work, the training, the professional development to make sure that our staff is ready to roll from day one. And our staff has been amazing. We had almost all of our teaching staff in last week for either 1 or 2 days. And those that didn't get in that second day will have that day later in the summer. But we're off to a great start. So I wanted to mention that. We have our summer educational cabinet meeting next week. And as you know, each year, that's an opportunity for us to reflect on the goal setting that we did the prior year. Did we reach those one-year targets? And we also start the work of developing goals for next year. And those goals are tied into a number of factors. We try to align ourselves with the goals of the district, but also doing our survey, our annual parent survey, our measurable results assessment. We take that feedback to help us, again, review the goals from last year. How did we do? Use that as data to help inform that, but also to set some new goals for the following year. I did want to just mention that, while we have some work to do still in the building, I've been around for a long time now. It's very unusual that a building project is on target. And, a lot of credit to the work that John and Bonnie are doing, but certainly to the work that Kevin Parrott is doing along with the staff. We were able to get back into the building to run our professional development, which is just so helpful, to run our Jumpstart program there, to run our STEM camp. So credit to the work that's being done by Kevin and by our administrators. And also the buildings and grounds folks, our building is in great shape. I just said today, I don't think the elementary school grounds have looked as good as they do right now, maybe in my time there. They're very much on top of things. So just wanted to recognize that. So that's all I've got. So are there any questions?
I've got a question. I'm curious if you got any initial feedback from your teachers who've gone through the Eureka professional development. Are there things that they really like about it? Are there things that are, harder to latch on to?
Yeah. So, last year we did a lot of the research, and that program rose to the top for a lot of those reasons. And as we dive into it, I would say there was a realization of the power that exists within the program, especially, I think, Megan, about the fluency work that's embedded within the program. And that was something that was eye-opening to me, in addition to the amount of thinking that kids do, and that shift or that mindset from, I guess what we call the cognitive load that is shifting from the teacher to the students. Very high level communication, a lot of thinking, a lot of sharing and discussing the math. So it is a shift, and it's a program or an approach that spirals, that it's okay when not everybody gets it on day one. And sometimes that can be really difficult for us when we think we want everybody to have it in that moment and they don't. But it does circle back. There's great scaffolding in the program, and definitely, the circling back to different topics. But I think our staff's excited. I mean, they really are. And it's different for everybody. So it's a new approach for all of our teachers in K-6. So I don't know. Yeah,
Thank you.
That's a great question, Trish, and an
it is.
awesome answer. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else have anything? I so appreciate, when John said, small school, big opportunities, even through the summer
Yeah.
to really hear about these wonderful enrichment programs, not only for our students, but the uh, professional development programs that are happening in the summer, not only with Eureka Math, but in the reading programs. So thank you for letting us know about that.
And there's other professional growth. I think about our STEM teachers that have been
Yeah.
in, and they did some planning, and others as well. But those are some of the highlights.
And the
Um,
numbers coming in the summer, that shows the deep
Our
dedication.
teachers are excited. They're
Yeah,
they're
that's-
excited
That's
about this.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Next up, we have Mr. Frank Akoza, our high school principal.
Hi, good evening. Just a few things. So Troop 13, which is our local Boy Scout troop, is pleased to have 2 new Eagle Scouts. 2 of our students have attained the distinguished rank of Eagle. Anthony Halliday, who will be a senior this September here at Lake George High School, and Robbie Arofsky, who just graduated this past June from Lake George High School. So we're pleased. Troop 13 over the years, over the decades, has pumped out a lot of Eagle Scouts, and there's 2 more Lake George students who attain that rank. As Jim stated, Youth Commission is a special program for the town and for our school district. We hosted it in our gymnasium, I think for the fifth year? 5th year. Prior to that, it was at the bus garage. And it rained a lot in the month of July. So they spent a lot of time in our gym, along with a ton of field trips. And I know that myself and Sarah and some others have had our own children in Youth Commission, and they had a blast. And we loved the beach days because they came home really, really tired. August Regents are next week. So we have some students who will be coming in to retake some Regents exams. Can't believe it's next week. You know that the summer is wrapping up when you hear August Regents and students start coming in for their summer reading books. We are wrapping up some final interviews for some open coaching positions that we have. Varsity and JV sports begin Monday, August 21st. So a week from Monday, fall sports for varsity and JV begin. We have our 7th grade ice cream welcome social on Monday, August 28th. And we will be more than ready to accept our staff on September 5th and our students on September 7th. And I want to echo what Jim said about the crew. The buildings and ground crew has been incredible, nothing short of incredible this summer in the work that they've done, not only outside the building, but also inside the building. You may have noticed when you walked around, there's a lot of univents out in the hallway, but there's also a lot of rooms being renovated. The offices, I think for the first time since 1985, are being painted and new ceilings, along with some other instructional spaces here in the building. So they're doing a tremendous amount of work, and it's a testament to Kevin Parrott and the work that he's been doing to get the most out of the summer. John, how many days is it? We did the math. It's like 34 days, really, work days, or 35 work days to get a lot of stuff done, and they're doing an incredible job. So that's my update.
Have any questions? Thank you. I love hearing about youth commission. That's a great example of partnering with the community, the district and the community partnering together. And I've heard some well into adulthood alumni talk about their fun days at youth commission. So it carries on.
Yeah, over 70 kids each day in that program.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and excellent counselors, many Lake George kids who have come back over the summer from college or work and have been youth commission camp counselors. So really
great.
good program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next report is Mr. John Luthringer with our superintendent report.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to echo a few of the things, but a little bit more specific in regards to our HVAC project. So it's similar to what Mr. Conway said, the elementary school has gone exceedingly well to the point where we were able to reopen it well ahead of schedule to allow for Jumpstart, STEM camp, and obviously teachers to get back in the building. So we went through all the different stages of abatement, clearing the rooms, air testing quality, all of that, getting new Univents in, getting them up and running. So it's got clean air coming in and out. And we're really in the final stages of that project. So just some quick statistics here. So there's 38 new Univents in the clusters and the teaching spaces that have been installed. They're operational. 24 new AC units that were replacing the old AC units that are installed. We have a new transformer in our basement, and we have new electrical box installed as well. So the final work right now is really have to do with electrical wiring and getting it from the transformer up to all the different condenser units on top of the roof and back to those units themselves in the classroom. So we are on track. It is going to be right up to Labor Day, but we're excited about it. There's no reason, we're open for business, and we'll be ready for our students and staff really to return after Labor Day. In the high school, the same work is being done at a bit of a smaller scale. So we have 5 HVAC units being installed. Those are in addition to the 9 that were installed in April. So a total of 14, quick math here, will be installed by the end of summer. We've had to do, there's a little more challenge, in the high school, and we're working through that. We have a different building, we have a different facade on the outside. So we have some Univents that are going to require some more work that will go into the fall season. So at least 2 due to the masonry work on the outside of the building that needs to occur. And there's 2 locations on that side, so they don't face the front, but there are some louvers and different things aesthetically that need to be designed appropriately for our building here. So those are all on track. We're also beginning the early stages of planning for the capital outlay project that was in part of the budget that was approved. That will also be for additional HVAC units for this building as well. So we're working on that with Tetra Tech. We have a meeting actually tomorrow. So we'll be more to come on that one as well, but we're excited about that progress as well. So in both principals mentioned, there's a lot of additional work going on across the campus. Carpet installation as part of our regular cycle. We have room changes going on, deep cleaning, painting, new ceiling tiles, you name it, it's getting done. And our buildings really do shine, and we're excited about it. We've got a lot of work to do in the next few weeks, but Kevin Parrott's got a great plan, and we have a great amount of our building staff working together as a team, and we're knocking out lots of projects. So lots of curriculum as well. I'm not going to go into in more detail of that, but there's a lot of curriculum in both buildings that have been going on. Teachers have been in and out. Curriculum leaders have been here, meeting with principals, meeting with Megan, meeting with myself on a variety of different curriculum needs as we head into the school year. We are excited. A quick visa update as well. The process is moving forward with our F1 visa exchange student. So Daniela from Barcelona will be coming to Lake George. We're really excited about that. We do have a host family. It's going to be great. So the tuition has already been paid. We've received the tuition, and really we filled out what's called an I-20 form. It's for her to receive her F1 visa. So she's working with the embassy in Barcelona in Spain right now. So we're anticipating hearing more soon. There's a bit of a backlog, but we're very excited about it, and we don't have a date of her arrival yet, but we are very hopeful and very excited for her to be here at the start of the school year. Just lastly here, just a nickname update as well. So we had the survey out. It closes on August 23rd. It has had a tremendous response. As of just a few minutes ago before the board meeting, I checked, there's been 731 responses. So again, we shared it in a number of ways. But we also try to keep it within our community There's only so many safeguards we can put on that, but we did feel that we did our due diligence. You know, people do have to submit an email, and we shared it through Parent Square and through our district summer newsletter and through the local media. So we're very excited about that. The students are excited. We have our advisory committee that will be the students will be the first ones to see the results. That is on August 23rd. There will be an announcement that day. And then again, as we get into the fall in September, we're going to have a student-led process working on a new logo design. So that will be, you know, a good process. We're excited about that. We've already got some graphic design people waiting in the wings to support us, but we're really looking for students to really drive this. And we know we have some very, very talented artistic students here that will want to be involved in this process. So more to come on that. And as I also mentioned too, you'll see later on in here, we did meet, there is a resolution here to donate the Chuck Hawley painting to the town of Lake George. We've met multiple times really with the Hawley family, and really this is what the family's wishes are. And we want to support that as a district. We've talked to the town, and they are overwhelmingly in support of that. It will be displayed in context with regards to it being student artwork. And also the Hawley family has such a long line of lineage in in not only in the town and village, but in particular as part of the town government. So that will be on the resolution for the board to vote on later tonight. And I think that's it. So we're really excited about opening. I will say we are ready. It's going to go quick here, but we are really excited for opening day. It's really right around the corner as we're kind of getting into the dog days of summer, as they say. So thank you so much.
Anybody have any? Thank you, John. Next up is our Audit and Finance Committee report, and Rosemary Earl is going to report out on that this evening.
I'm reporting on it because Mario didn't make the meeting and he's still the chair of the Audit and Finance Committee. So, anyway, we've provided you with the minutes of the meeting, so I'm not going to read the minutes to you. But a couple things that I wanted to point out. We did go over the schedule for next year. We did talk about tuition that we've received in May, comparing foster children who attended our district in 2021, 22, and clarifying that between homeless students and homeless tuition. So we talked quite a bit about that. So if you have any questions, you can ask us. Actually, it's written right there. Let's see, in addition to the HVAC project that John was just talking about, they've also completed capital outlay project in the amount of 100,000 this upcoming school year to replace additional Univent units in the high school. That should be done before the end of next year. And then Ms. Hart reported on the BAN, which stands for Bond Anticipation Note, for the bus purchases. And she's written out who won the lowest bid on that, Roosevelt and Cross and Greene County Commercial Bank. So that was all fine. And then we talked about the purchase policy and procedures. They were reviewed and will be distributed to everyone in the district that generates purchase orders. We had a discussion about increasing the limit from 2,000 to 5,000 for public works for people who do work for us. Current regulations are from 2,000 to 34,000 and requires 3 bids. It was proposed to increase the lower end of the threshold from 2,000 to 5,000. This will allow for increased expenses for the cost of living and allow work to be done in a more timely manner. And I think this will be voted on tonight. Thanks, Ben. Oh, okay. All right. Any questions about that? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary. Next, we have our policy report with Mary Ann McKenzie, who's the chair of that committee.
Okay, so this evening we have got two policies moving to second read that were discussed last month at last month's board meeting. They are 7340 bus rules and regulations and 5661 the wellness policy. And just recall the wellness policy is in there because the additional sun safety information was added to that policy. Policy 7250, student privacy, parental access to information, and administration of certain physical examinations to minors, was going to go to second read this evening, but we pulled it because there were some questions from, Tricia had asked some questions. There was some concerns about the clarity of the language, and we'll make sure that we have a full understanding of what your concern is. Is there anything that you wanted to say about it tonight, Tricia?
I just want to say that I read the introduction a couple times. I think I get the gist of it, but because it hit me as unclear and it speaks about parental rights, I think we should go overboard to make sure that it's clear for any layperson to read and understand at the first go round. So thank you.
Absolutely. And I agree. I read it many times myself, we want it to be clear. That's the point of having the policy for people to read and understand. So also this evening we have two policies moving to first read, and both of these policies came before the policy committee by way of our routine Lake George policy manual review. And just by the way, I do want to I don't know if I've ever mentioned this in a public meeting before, but when we are doing our routine manual review, the policies that come, we take them in the order of those that were last updated the furthest amount of time ago. Does that make sense? So we've been doing a large batch of policies that hadn't been reviewed since 2013. And that's what almost all of them this year have been, and it's actually coming to closure soon. And then there will be, we always want to have like a smallest number of years, the distance between, when they've been last looked at. We want eyes on policies routinely. So these have all been 2013, and we're closing that up in the near future. So I just want to make you aware of that. So the first policy that's on for first read is 6563 retirees. And the suggested edits in that policy, there was, Mrs. Durway had, our former business official had suggested we change one word for accuracy, better accuracy. And we're suggesting the removal of one sentence that was in the policy that was regarding a grandfather clause for employee spouses who were receiving Medicare benefits prior to 1985. No one is taking advantage of that anymore. That clause has run its course, and so the language is not necessary. So we're recommending that sentence be removed. And then 7560, notification of sex offenders. There were no substantive changes recommended to that policy. There was just some very minor wordsmithing, tweaking, and that's it. And then there was one policy reviewed with no recommended changes, also per our, last reviewed in 2013. And this is 7430, contests for students, student awards, and scholarships. And that is my report. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
The next part of our agenda is the first of our two public comment periods. And we currently don't have anybody signed up for a comment period. Folks are welcome to come up for a comment, even if they didn't have the opportunity to sign up. we have the sign up sheet just so we can have folks' contact information and be sure to get back to folks in a timely manner. We'll have a second public comment at the end of the meeting. If there's anybody online joining us virtually, if you send an email to lkgeorge.org, no, BOE@lkgeorge.org. Do I have that right? BOE,
Okay.
yeah.
BOE.
BOE@lkgeorge.org. The board and superintendent will get those questions, and we'll be able to respond to those, get to you for those. Is there anybody who didn't have the opportunity to sign up? Okay. I just want to read before we have our. Oh, yeah, the first one is items on the agenda. The second public comment is open to other pieces. So for public comment, the Lake George Central School District Board of Education welcomes district residents, parents, and other interested persons to its meetings. Community involvement at board meetings is encouraged so that the board can better understand and represent the views of its constituents. Please be aware that by law, individual student information or particular personnel issues cannot be discussed at public sessions of the board. Please tell us your name when you come to the microphone, and statements are limited to 3 minutes. The board and district staff take public comments very seriously, and careful notes of questions and concerns will be taken so that they can be addressed as soon as possible. Thank you in advance for helping maintain a safe and respectful decorum for the meeting.
Good evening, Lisa Doster, a resident of the district. Just a couple questions on the Capital Region BOCES. Are we still using Warren and Washington and Saratoga County BOCES? Are we still using Erie 1 BOCES? Or does Capital Region replace all of these? And if it does replace, was there a bid put out for the services? Will the students still attend Warren, Washington, and Saratoga County? Is there a cost savings for using the Capital Region BOCES? And I don't know if they were responsible for the old historical photos that were presented on social media. But I thought that was a very nice touch, whoever was in charge of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay. If we had any answers to that. Someone will respond about the. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is the school business consent agenda.
There was somebody else who.
Oh, was there somebody else who wanted to make a comment? Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you for noticing. I didn't notice that. Thank you, Trish. Welcome.
Hi. Bob Flanagan from Queensbury, Nottingham Drive. I want to thank John Luthringer and Francis Cosa for inviting me to a meeting a few weeks ago to discuss my concerns about the school district's policy of gender identity. Each of us was able to discuss our opinions. My biggest concern at the time was the school board's definition of gender. 4 different items could mean one word, that word gender. A very vague definition, as I told the school board at the June meeting. John did point out that before a boy is allowed to perform sports in a girls' sports team, that the district will confirm the student's asserted gender identity with documentation. Documentation that the board considers appropriate. Documentation from parent or guardian, counselor, doctor, psychologist, psychiatrist, or other medical professionals. My retort was to ask, of the 6 individuals that you list in your policy, is there a single individual with sufficient legal responsibility and authority to document a student's gender identity? Or does the district need more than one? Do you need all 6? What if a parent's impression of a student's gender identity differs from the psychiatrist? What if the doctor's opinion differs from the counselor's? Does the parent have legal sway over other professionals, or is it the other way around? Our agreed conclusion was that the district needs some real legal advice, some clarity. Let me emphasize clarity to define your gender identity policy. The sentence regarding the documentation of a student's gender identity is just as vague as the definition of the word gender, which I spoke about in June. Such vague policies are automatically void by the Supreme Court. The board's next policy meeting is scheduled for October. That is too late. Tonight, I will give each board member a copy of the Supreme Court's decision of Skilling so that they may fully understand that vagueness automatically means the statute is void. I remind each board member that their duty is to inform every staff member of the school district that each staff member is in legal jeopardy for any attempt to enforce your vague and void policy. Next month, I will ask each individual board member individually to list the names of staff members whom they have personally contacted regarding the legal jeopardy that those staff members are involved in. If no staff member was contacted, I request that each board member state that for the record. By not placing yourself in additional legal jeopardy. Now I will give you a copy of Skilling versus United States.
Thank you. Is there anyone
Thank you.
else? Thank you. There's no other public comment. We'll move to the school business consent agenda.
As recommended by the superintendent, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District hereby approves the school business consent agenda items A through O. And in summary, item A is a motion to approve the minutes, regular July and reorganizational minutes, the board meeting minutes. Item B is Committee on Special Education recommendations. Item C is the Treasurer's Report and Extracurricular Activities Fund and Warrants. Item D is the Claim Auditor's Report. Item E is a motion to approve the Randy's Run Murphy's Mile as a fundraiser to be held on May 18th, 2024 as presented. Item F is a motion to establish the following cafeteria rates for the 2023-2024 school year as presented. Item G is a motion to adopt the policy statement and necessary attachments for participation in the National School Lunch and Breakfast Program. Item H is the August surplus for computer surplus and other surplus property of no value, and to be authorized disposal of those items. Item I is a motion to approve the 2023-24 district-wide safety plan and the junior, senior high school and elementary building level safety plans. Item J is a motion to approve the 2023-24 code of conduct plan. Item K is a motion to approve the student transportation cooperative agreement. That is the regional cooperative agreement with many of the North Country schools. We support each other as needed throughout the year with transportation. And item L is a motion to declare two 2012 Dodge Caravans as surplus property and of no value to the district and have become obsolete or too costly to repair. Item M is a motion to set the school tax warrant for the 2023-24 school year. Item N is a motion to surplus the Chuck Hawley mascot painting at the request of the family of Chuck Hawley. Be it further resolved that the Chuck Hawley mascot painting will be donated to the town of Lake George. Item O is a motion, it's a customary practice for policy reads. And that is it.
A motion?
So moved.
Any questions? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. Next, we have the action to attend the New York State School Board Association Convention and the appointment of the delegate and alternate delegate.
As recommended by the superintendent, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District hereby approves the Board of Education's attendance at the annual NYSBA convention from October 26th to October 28th. The delegate will be Marianne McKenzie and Rosemary Earl will be the alternate delegate.
We have a motion.
Second.
Any questions? Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. Next item is the faculty staff resignations.
As recommended by the superintendent, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District hereby terminates the employment of Tammy Wilson effective July 28th, 2023.
We have a motion? Any question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. The next item is the faculty staff appointment consent agenda.
As recommended by the superintendent, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District hereby approves the faculty staff consent appointments, items A through K. Item A is a motion to appoint David Long to a 4-year probationary appointment as a teaching assistant. Item B is a motion to appoint Leslie Marcotte to the probationary position of groundskeeper cleaner. Item C is a motion to appoint Elijah Lugo to the probationary position of cleaner nights. Item D is a motion to appoint Kevin Boya to the probationary position of cleaner nights. Item E is a motion to appoint Thomas Armstrong to the probationary position of cleaner nights. Item F is a motion to motion to appoint Angelo Rikiki as a bus driver trainee. Item G is a motion to amend the 2023-2024 extracurricular co-curricular list and salaries associated with those. Item H is a motion to amend the 2023-24 coaches list and volunteer coaches list. Item I is a motion to amend the 2023-24 Jumpstart and STEM camp list. And item J, motion to approve the 2023 substitute salary rates. And lastly, item K is a motion to approve the 2023-2024 substitute list of employees not hired through BOCES.
So moved.
Any questions? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. The last item on, well, not last, the next item on our agenda is Board of Education comment and discussion. And during this period, one of the items is our board goals discussion. But prior to that, does anybody have anything?
I've got a clarifying point. Because we have questions that we're not ready to answer from public comment right now. I think it's a good idea just to remember we document them somehow. When we get back to people, we document them and they appear. Can you remind me where they appear so that we here remember and the public who's here can remember where they're documented?
Do you mean when we have an email correspondence with a community member following? Is that what?
When we reply to their questions.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And then how is the board able to view that?
Is the public able to view? Do we ever make a notation that this question came up and it was answered?
That's a good question. I think there have been, I mean, the board is made aware of questions being answered, but if there was a question that came up, I think there have been times where at meetings we have circled back and had discussions or report outs on questions. Does anybody?
You know, I think that we often do, Tricia, but I think that maybe better to have it a little more conscious for
Right.
us, like to be more routine about that. I think that's maybe a good reminder. Because we as a board we have information about those correspondences, but I'm not sure that we always routinely circle back to the
Okay.
next public meeting, but I know that we sometimes do. I know that I sometimes have, but I think that just put a light
Yeah.
bulb on for me.
I know there
Thanks.
were several points that came up tonight that were, very procedurally demonstrated that we have community members that have expectations of the board that procedurally happen differently than I think their expectations. And it's not easy to explain all of that in the public format. I'm just wondering, something for us to think about how we can get that information out. And generally speaking, it's through John, and you do a great job of outreach to community members to clarify that information. So thank you for that work and for the meetings that you put together.
Yeah, I'm just contemplating, if there's sometimes in superintendent reports, if things have come up and it's an opportunity to explain things further, it could also be, we could use this time in the board meeting if there was a question or a comment from the previous meeting that needed some clarification. We as a board could use that. Does that make sense?
I think the way that we currently do it is if it's a response through me, it certainly goes directly through the board. It's also noted in board docs and the executive content. So there's that piece for the board. It's not necessarily, some questions are pretty routine. But I do understand what you're saying. If there's an opportunity at the next board meeting to circle back to some of them, for example, clarifying, our relationship with both BOCES is something that would warrant clarifying. We can use many BOCES for lots of different services, and that's something that could easily be clarified at a future meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trish. That's a really good question. You're full of good questions tonight. Thank you. Anybody else have anything prior to the board, the goals discussion? So our goals were that we had our goals from last year, which we were using that to look at, and also thinking about our self-evaluation and thinking of our board goals for 2023-24 school year. Did anybody have any thoughts based on what we've had for last year and our self-eval?
I've got a couple for each of them. I think goal number one is one that we haven't moved the needle on as far as we would like, and it's something that's a longer term goal. Maybe change it to continue to increase advocacy to demonstrate that that's a ongoing goal.
Yeah, perhaps that's one where we have to brainstorm or look at specific opportunities or uncover specific opportunities and share those with each other, and then have us, basically volunteer to maybe take on a certain opportunity. But because it's an easy one to just, the year goes by. So I don't know if there's a better way to be informed in terms of opportunities that we can have as board members to be involved in that. But that I certainly would like to learn more about, so that we have something more concrete. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
It's a good idea to have steps maybe, or
Yeah.
just the bullet points underneath, like how we could become more, we can
Yeah,
advocate more, or.
We need specific examples
Yeah,
of
I think
of
so.
involvement.
I agree.
So.
And I think to have specific examples, not just so that we can, know that we're doing more, but like to also recognize what we're already doing. I think that, like there are many things that are, offered that we have pretty high attendance at a lot of different meetings. And, I don't think that, Katie and I were speaking about this before. I don't think we have really put that in the category necessarily of, the role in advocacy, even just educating ourselves in some of the meetings that are offered to us that we attend. And I think that it is a good start, a good idea to sort of say like, well, what could it be and where can we,
What does it look like?
Right.
Yeah.
all the ways that it could look like that
Yeah.
we could.
Right.
An example, the Adirondack Area School Board meeting in the evening, we had a whole, the topic was advocacy. And we had some folks from NISBA. Do you remember, John, who was there?
Representatives who was from a representative from NISBA, NISCUS, and I want to say state ed,
Right.
actually. I'm
NISCUS
pretty
is
sure,
the
yeah.
New York State Council
Yeah,
of.
the council.
Of Superintendent.
Yep.
And then the New York State School Board Association. That was a really helpful evening. I learned a lot. And in that conversation, we had an opportunity as audience members to make requests for their advocacy work. So we have great, powerful resources in terms of the New York State School Board Association does advocacy for schools holistically for the state, and we have an opportunity, to reach out to them. And that's one of the things that Mary Ann being the delegate and you being the alternate delegate at the convention coming up. So I do think sometimes we don't give ourselves credit for some of the little things that we do. And there's also opportunities that if we can kind of have our radar up a little higher. I think, sometimes John has some things that come across the screen that he's let us know about. And I think NISBA sometimes sends us emails letting us know. And I think if we just have our radars up, we'll see those and maybe we can do a better job of just like highlighting those. Hey, this is a chance. Is there anybody on the board who wants to take on this particular opportunity and be the lead on that? So I like that idea of, that folks have said, let's look at it and how can we figure out what it is and who's going to do it. So thank you. So, I mean, that's more logistics about the goal, but I like your idea, Trish, of just saying continue to increase because it's something that we put on our radar last year and we definitely feel like we want to keep working on it. That was one of the things in our board self-eval that we identified. That was one of the areas that we felt like we could do a little bit better. So. Goal number 2, that one.
Yeah. I've got one of the things that when I was reading this, well, I was grateful that we have so much collaboration going on, especially with John in your first year collaborating with that collaborative relationship is strong. So I don't know if we want to say maintain, right, instead of develop in that. But even more importantly, in the second part where we're modeling cooperation and respect, something that we've had conversation about is not being content with a status quo, right? Wanting to question, wanting to make sure that we are not becoming complacent. We have a strong collaborative relationship. I don't know if another word, and these are the 4 that I came up with was modeling cooperation, respect, and engagement or curiosity or perspective seeking or diversity of thought, something that shows that we're pushing back on what's coming in front of us and looking at it from different angles, whether that comes from information from the school, from each other, from community members, so that we're truly engaging with it and we're not just letting it wash over us and being polite about it.
Can you read this again? Engaging jumped out to me.
That might be the most
Okay,
encompassing word,
okay.
but yeah, the other words I said were curiosity, perspective seeking, and diversity of thought.
Like critical reasoning engagement or something like that. I don't know.
I don't know that we need to land on the actual wordsmithing right now. I just wanted to throw that out there for us to think about. How do we articulate that that's what we really hope to do and then hold ourselves accountable to it?
I like that. And instead of the word maintain, like further develop and further enhance. I mean, because we want to do more than maintain. Because we're always in growth mode and always wanting to reach further. And I agree with you. We've developed a wonderful collaborative relationship with the superintendent, and I think we've grown with our, collaborative relationship with the community and each other and the things that we have listed here, but.
You just modeled what we're talking about.
Okay. So, yeah, so I would say like further, I don't know what the right words are,
Some
but
form of the word development should stay in.
Uh-huh.
simply
yeah,
because-
further develop.
Or you
maybe.
could stay developed.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to it. I just wanted to point out that, we're further along.
I
Yeah.
like further development because it shows that
Mhm.
we've made some progress and
Mhm.
make it go more. Anybody else have thoughts on that? How about number 3? What do we, anybody have any ideas for that?
I guess if I were trying to look at support for the fact that the committees are, aligned to the responsibilities of the board, et cetera. I mean, I think through our report outs at the meetings, I'm hoping that that the community as well as all of us see consistency in the way those meetings are organized, handled, the information that's presented, the frequency, et cetera. It seems like there's a good process in place with the committees. I don't know if that's a place where we might be able to move onward from that and maybe replace that goal with a new goal. That could, I don't know. Unless there's, I don't know. But that's just what I'm thinking.
Other thoughts, ideas?
I think this is a really well worded goal and it encompasses a lot of what we do and we strive to do. And like Janine said, we've come a long way in standardizing and reviewing those roles and responsibilities. I don't know that we've had much conversation about how well we have done actually with the standards of like keeping the agendas. I know we've been good at reporting out on minutes, but it is, I think that it's still fairly new for me to see them run so smoothly. I would, since it's so well worded, I would hate to say goodbye to it.
And it is, I mean, it's the kind of thing where practice makes permanent, so if we keep this well on our radar, keep it in our sights as a
yeah.
goal, then, and there may be some things that we can tweak in terms of uniformity, like what do the minutes look like? Should we have more uniformity across, across the minutes and the agendas? Just so there's consistency, no matter what committee you're looking at. And I can't think of an example. I mean, that may not be completely possible because a policy agenda does look different than a audit and finance agenda. So, but maybe headings, how we display them. I don't know. It's a.
I agree. I think we have come a long way with this, but it doesn't seem to me, I still feel like there's more examination of it. Maybe we haven't done, like in terms of some of the uniformity and maybe this is like, well, and maybe in board development committee, something that can be kind of spearheaded, but like some of the committees do run differently, and is that inherent in just the way that committee is, or is there more we can do to be more uniform? And Sarah needs to be part of some of that conversation as well, because she's supporting all of our committee efforts. And I think we've talked about it and we've touched on it, but we haven't really had a comprehensive conversation to really have a sense of really how successful are we? Like, what does it feel like to every, so I think there's more, I think we have come a really long way, but I think that we can maybe put more confirmation on it and maybe examine it more comprehensively now that we're like more steady with it. And that's,
It gives us an opportunity to do a deeper dive on
Yeah.
what is the purpose of our committees? Are we serving, are we serving the district, serving the board with the purpose of each committee and then the uniformity piece.
and like, I'm not opposed to adding a new goal either, you know what I mean?
Oh,
But like,
yeah.
I just kind of feel like we haven't really, like put closure on it. Yeah, that's, I guess, what I'm trying to.
Well, what I was wondering is there some place else that this can sit besides being still a goal for, I don't know, maybe not. That doesn't hurt for it to just sit there. I was just trying to think of, is there someplace else that can sit now as we move into a new stage instead of it up? That's fine.
Janine, did you have any thoughts on themes or additional goals?
No. So, not yet.
I mean, I feel like in terms of like where our focus on committee work should live is our goals, is within our goals. I can't think of another spot where I would put that because it keeps us focused on, where we want to go in terms of improvement. Me.
Okay.
I think that, there's a sense that, oh, we're so happy with these that if we continue with them, that we're not actually putting in the work. We've put in a lot of work over the years, like a lot of heart work into goals. And this is the first time I've been this level of satisfied with them and how they have guided us.
Mhm.
But it almost seems like, oh, shouldn't we be like doing some more heart wrenching work to like come up with more
Yeah.
goals? But I think actually this third goal in itself is so substantive to what the board is responsible for, which is, our work on policy and our work in the committee areas. I think I would stump to keep these and work not to feel like we're, doing it haphazardly, but thoughtfully.
Mhm.
But really, think a little bit more. Is there something we're missing?
Well, then again, as with the first goal, like you had said, to look into things more, then we should define some specifics. And I don't necessarily mean as like listed as part of that goal, but we should definitely define some specifics that we are going to
Yes.
focus on. Yeah, so.
Maybe we should meet sometime and talk about procedure in all our committee meetings. I mean, maybe I missed that meeting, but I don't think we've ever actually done that for consistency and
That's
just
what
talk
that's
about.
what I meant. Like,
Yeah,
we haven't
maybe-
really comprehensively had an exchange like
Yeah,
on that level.
we kind of know what we all expect from each other, but it's, I think, I mean, right, yes. Yes, so that's helpful. But I think, there's more work to be done there.
And that's
my
something
opinion.
in the near future, and don't have a date set for Board Development Committee. Maybe that's something we can talk about in the Board Development Committee in terms of setting something up so that we can have some things that we feel like we would like to learn more about, figure out how to make that happen.
And maybe like a chair workshop, right? So
Mhm.
we workshop chairing. Yeah.
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 Okay. Thank you. Any other thoughts, ideas? Okay. Thank you, everybody. The next item on the agenda is our second public comment period. There was nobody signed up. Is there anybody who has a comment? Okay, then we will go to the last item on the agenda, which is our adjournment. Be it
So
resolved-
moved.
Do I have to read that? Be it resolved that the Board of Education of Lake George School District hereby adjourns the meeting of August 8, 2023.
So moved.
Any questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for being here.